Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wanderlust Wealth Show. Today we have a fabulous guest. Her name is Ariana, and she is a WWA student who has absolutely crushed it in an expensive market in Austin, Texas. Was able to buy a property. So I am, well, not even just buy a property, but buy a property without a bank. But I'm excited to get right on in. Ariana, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. This time being on a podcast, checking off a lot of bucket list items with you.
I know. Literally, the entire time that you've been with us, I feel like we're just getting you out of your comfort zone every single step of the way. But it's not that scary, right?
Right.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, let's jump right on in. Ariana, can you tell everyone first, like, what your background is, and also where were you before you found like the Wanderlust Wealth Academy and WWA?
Yeah. So right now I am a medical assistant, working full time. I've always wanted, ever since I was younger, wanted to get into real estate. I always told my sisters and my family, like, one day I'm going to get into real estate. But, growing up, I always thought, like, you have to have a bunch of money, like millions of dollars. So, when, the opportunity presented itself, I still didn't even take it. But I was the one that told me, like, hey, like, you have the money. Don't you want to get into real estate? And so I was like, you know what? You're right. So I had a friend, which Olivia knows, Felipe and Julie. I watched their kid a lot. Sophie, my favorite. But Felipe introduced me to Olivia, and the rest is history. She kind of taught me, basically to invest in myself, which nobody has really ever told me. So that was like the biggest thing. Cause yeah, I'm not one to spend money, but once she said, that was the one line that she got me on, to make me take the next step into my real estate. But, did I answer all your questions?
Yes, no, that was fabulous. Fabulous. I love that. And it really is so important because we really aren't taught to invest in ourselves. And I don't say this because I'm like, everyone go out there and spend a bunch of money. No, but like when it's something that's aligned and it's actually going to take you to where you want to go, especially if you have something that's been on your heart for so long and you're like, I always wanted to get started investing in real estate, but you have this like idea that it's something that's probably never going to happen and it's a someday situation, right? And just taking some time to actually invest in yourself, invest in your confidence, invest in your knowledge, you'll get there. I tell people this all the time. You'll get there so much faster than you think you will, right? Because you start to see what's possible. Okay, well, so Ariana, I remember when you joined WWA, literally, I think for the first month or so, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to buy a property. I won't be able to find anything, all that stuff. But what I really want to talk about was your commitment to making more money, right? Because before you weren't actually working your current job, you were working in a different job that wasn't providing you this financial security that you felt like you needed. So can you talk to me a little bit about that process as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, I feel like it was, only a couple of months ago, but kind of trying to leave it behind me. No, I'm just kidding. So I was working at I was actually working two jobs. I was working at a daycare and I was working at Chipotle as a manager. As much as I loved being busy, I really missed, spending time with my family. And as much as I love kids, that is my passion. It just wasn't, paying the bills, especially living in Austin, Texas. I could barely even, buy a hot dog at Costco, without, racking the bank. But, yeah, so that's where I was at the moment. The pay was not good. So yeah, whenever I joined, I was like, this is not going to happen. I'm not making enough money to even pay on a mortgage of a house. And, even that, my credit score wasn't even good. So I just honestly, when I started, I had no hope in even buying a house.
Well, and that was why with you, right? The first focus was just getting your finances in check, right? It was paying off that car, getting all of your credit situation figured out, right? And then also finding a job that's going to give you more income. That way you do feel like, okay, now I have the confidence, because what stops a lot of people, right, is they want to get started investing in real estate, but they don't have like no one has really taught them how to manage their finances, right? And like how to look for, because I always tell people, it's honestly so much easier to just like get a job that pays more than try and like save every single tiny little dollar and not enjoy anything. But like there's a balance between saving and like making more, of course. But like part of people's issue is like you just need to actually go and like put a concerted effort into finding a job that is going to pay you more and like putting you in that situation. And I feel like that gave you too a ton of confidence to then be like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there was a point where I just had no hope. And Olivia, you know, she was like, enough, like, let's put everything on a pause. I think our next step right now is for you to look for a different job. Because I mean, like my finances, I had the money to pay off my car. I had the money to pay off, like, for me, my mindset is I just didn't want to use my like savings. So I was trying to make the money with the 2 jobs. And that's where Olivia was like, one, like you have the money. What's the point of it sitting in your bank account if you're not going to use it? It's there for you to use. And 2, like, if you're not happy having 2 jobs, why not just look for another job? Which, I mean, it sounds easier than it is. But, you know, when I finally sat down, I like took a hard look and I was like, I mean, like, she's right. I was like,
well,
if I'm not happy,
you were draining your account and like to pay off your car and stuff like that. Like, it's not like you were like, okay, well, I'm going to be down to $0 in my bank account after I do this, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm not saying this like I'm rich or anything, but yeah, it was like an easy, like, Olivia was like, just pay it. And I was like, I can't. I mean, like, spending $50 on something, I'm like, oh my goodness, like that is just so much. Which I'm trying to break out of that habit. And I feel like Olivia has helped me a lot. But yeah, I think one of the bigger things was, you know, a career change, which I mean, as much as I love kids, even the career change that I have, like I'm just happier and it's great. I mean, it's nice.
Oh, I love that so much. I know. And it's weird because I feel like sometimes we feel like we have to suffer in order to like get the thing. Like and this is especially for women. I find that we are like, well, we don't deserve to have like a better paying job maybe, or like there's just like that internal belief that's inside of us that's telling us that we don't deserve better when we actually do. And I think part of it is just like getting over that fear, right? And like getting over and like believing in ourselves that no, I am worth this and I deserve to be like less financially stressed.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the biggest things I've learned, you know, with being in WWA is confidence. I mean, even the job that I have now, medical assistant, like I had never had any prior work to it. Like I worked at a daycare. And so when I got the interview, like I just was straight up like, you're going to regret not hiring me. Like I may not know much, but I work twice as hard because I don't know much. And I mean, even like my boss called me back and she was like, I've never heard an interview like that. Like, I want to have a chance with you. She even said, usually it's easier to hire people that don't already know the job anyway. But she was like, I just like the fact that you're confident and that, you know, you just said that since you don't know much, that you are going to work twice as hard. And so, I mean, I don't think I've let her down. So, I mean.
Okay, y'all, do I have something exciting for you? Now, I just came out with a brand new free training on exactly how you, yes, you can get started investing in real estate within the next 3 months. Because if you're someone who wants more freedom in your life, the ability to travel the world and do the things that you actually want to do in life, you're going to want to listen up. Trust me. Now, this training is freaking awesome. I literally go in and spill the tea on the number one strategy that is working right now, like literally today in today's market. And I go over how to look at deals and make sure that they actually cash flow and how to set your properties up so that you can run them from anywhere in the world. Like I literally have managed my properties from over 6 different time zones. So if you are stuck in analysis paralysis, you don't know where to start when it comes to real estate investing, but you know that it's something that you want to do in the future, this training is going to be for you. So to check it out, click the link in the show notes or DM me the word hack, like HACK on Instagram, and I will send you the link. Now let's dive back into the show.
I love that so much for you because even hearing you now is so different to when I first met you. Like it warms my heart. Well, I'm so proud. A little proud mama here. Okay, well, let's start to get a little bit more into the real estate side of things. So, like you were saying before, you were kind of working these two jobs and it really wasn't giving you the income you even needed to qualify for a property in Austin, right? Which started to kind of feel like a struggle. You're like, I don't know if like this is just not going to happen. So we're like, okay, we're going to have to start looking into creative strategies. So tell me a little bit about the property that you got, how it even came to fruition, all of that.
Yeah. So like Olivia said, the pay that I was getting was just it was not working, for the price of houses here. So Olivia, introduced me to, owner financing, which at first I was like, that's silly. Like, I feel like that's like finding a needle in a haystack, like an owner financing house. So I mean, there was like a season where I was just like on Zillow, like doing what I felt like doing what I could. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have done a little bit harder.
Yeah, but I also do think like it's so funny. I was talking to Corey about this, but like, I really do preach what I say in the sense, like sometimes you have to go through a season of just being like a little bit frantic and like getting on Zillow and doing stuff, even though it feels like you're not making any moves. You were literally like signaling and this is me getting into my woo woo stuff, right? Signaling to the universe that you are working, like you're committed and this is something that you actually want. And then in the most serendipitous way, somehow the property always appears. Not while you're doing like your regular stuff, like it appears in the most random. You're like, what but you have to go through that phase of like signaling to the universe, like, no, this is something that I want and I'm committed to doing it.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Like I was on Zillow, I was on Facebook, I was on Craigslist. I was on everything for like the longest time. Like any chance I had to get to look on my phone, like I would go, look at houses or type in like seller financing or, I even tried messaging people. And then, that's when my hopes kind of got down. And that's when Olivia was like, you need to stop, look for another job, like stop stressing out. And then I didn't even get to look for a job long until Olivia like messaged me just out of the blue too. And she was like, you need to look at this house.
I know. I think that's also part of the beauty of because I'm always, for all of y'all, I'm always just like, I got my eyes out, like waiting to see if I find something that could work for you. But like, luckily we have a bunch of like realtors who have either like chatted with y'all or are part of even the WWA community in the sense that they're like happy to help you guys. And Devin, who's like an awesome realtor here not here, but in Austin, because I'm not in Austin, but you are. He posted a property that was a seller financed property, large house. And I was like, I think this could work for Ariana. Let me just send it to her. And at first, I think the funny thing too is at first you were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But then you like didn't take any action.
No, I mean, I went to go look at the house, but then the thought of like actually moving to the next step was like a whole new, because I didn't even think I would get past the first step, like even having a house to consider. So, I mean, yeah, as much as everybody likes to think like once you find the house, it's like, that is the perfect house. Like, even if it is the perfect house, like you still have that, like, I mean, it's a big commitment. You're with it. But I mean, yeah, she was right. After I looked at it, I, was like, okay, well, I'll have to think about it. And then like, I think like a week went by and she like kept texting me about it. And I was like, oh, like I'm thinking about it. And I think a couple more days and she was like, well, you need to stop thinking about it. This is what you've been looking for.
Well, no. And I think I was more like, if you don't want it, fine. Decide you don't want it and move on. But right now you're kind of just like kicking the like hay down the road or whatever the term is, right? Versus like, This sounds like, from what I've talked to you about, sounds like it could be a fantastic fit. Now, if you come and tell me and you're like, no, this property isn't a good fit, absolutely move on to the next one. I'm not telling if you feel like it's not the right fit, but you were like, no, there isn't any issues with it. I'm like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah, there was none. It was just me, and it was just scary to move to the next step.
Which is so fair.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize, and that's why I always tell all of y'all, I'm like, put an offer in. Go actually put an offer in. You talk about go put an offer in, because that's when it starts to actually feel real. And that's when that's when the real learning starts to happen. It's like you put an offer in, you're under contract, you're like, okay, now we're in it. And
Yeah, absolutely.
You can always get out of an offer too. Like,
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the one thing that, Olivia, like, I've enjoyed the most, because I have really bad anxiety with things. And Olivia, she's very reassuring. Like, she's like, just because you put in an offer doesn't mean you have, like, that's you, saying, I'm going to buy it. Like, that's just you, moving to the next step and seeing, if it's the right fit for you, really. Which she always did reassure me, like, for everything, even with like, looking for a loan. She's like, even if you, look for a loan or like, start doing the process for it, doesn't mean that you have to take the loan. And so I was like, you know what, you're right. And then even like with this house, she was like, even if you put in an offer, like, it doesn't mean you have to buy the house. It just means, you're seeing what's out there. And I mean, that for people with bad anxiety like myself was like something that just really, it was great.
I love that. I love that so much. So, Ariana, can you tell me a little bit more about the property? Like, how much was it? What is your strategy too? Because now you're like, you just listed it for rent, so you're going to start renting it out. But like, how much was the property? How much did you put down? And how did you structure it? And then we'll go into like the actual strategy.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact number. I think it was around 345,
which is crazy in Austin. But
yeah,
because we were able to like find, and this is where like real estate in general, it's all about who you know and connections. Because yes, are these properties always listed on the MLS? No, they're not. But you start to meet people and you start to get in the room, right? Make connections with people who do have access to these things,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even the price, like, it got me, like, that's just unheard of in Austin, Texas, unless you're finding like a broken house on the studs. And let alone with 5 bedrooms. It's a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It needed a little bit of work, but nothing like major. But yeah, I am currently, which I haven't told you, but I found, my first roommate.
Let's go! I'm so proud of you. Wait, girl, you gotta put me in wins.
Oh, yes. Well, I just got the confirmation today.
Oh my goodness. Fabulous.
Yes. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm living, so yes, it's seller finances or finance. I think I put down 10%. So 30,000. And then I think I spent a little bit over 15, I think like 20,000 to remodel it. Which, I mean, I think I maybe might have done a little bit overboard. But it was like my first house and I just wanted it to be, great. Cause I mean, I'll always have this house. Like, I can't remember who said it, but somebody that we listened to in one of the courses, she said that, she wants, a house for every kid that she has.
Yep. I say that all the time too. I'm like, each child gets a property.
So now, like, that's my goal. So now that I have a property, I need a child.
Okay, calm down there, girl.
I know, right? But, yeah. So, I mean, if I'm living downstairs and then I rent out each room for around like $850, except there's like a really big room, that one will be $950. It'll basically pay my mortgage. I'll probably have to pay like maybe the internet. But I mean, I know I'll be living rent free, which is great. Oh my goodness. And I mean, it's a great location. It's an up and coming location. It's 20 minutes from downtown Austin. So not really in the busy area. But also close enough, for a little drive there. I mean, with Austin traffic, it's a little bit more, but, I think it's, I thought I was going to hate the neighborhood because I used to live around here when I was younger and there was absolutely nothing. We had to drive. And so I was like, I'm going to hate it. But now that I'm down here, like, I absolutely love it. Yeah, they had new and up and coming bars all around.
I love that. Well, and it was even for me when I bought my first duplex. At first, I purchased it and I was like, am I gonna? It was in a totally different part of town than all of my friends. And like, because everyone else lived in the bougie part of New Orleans. And I was living in the bougie part of New Orleans, renting there, but spending so much money. And then I was like, well, if I want to buy like a house and actually live for free and be able to quit my job and all of this, like I need to reduce my living expenses. So I went to an up and coming area. And at first I was like, am I going to move here? I don't know. But then I moved and it was literally the best decision ever. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, there's construction, but I don't really hear it. So I think I'm far enough. I'm by I'm by the Samsung factory. So, I'm sure once I move out, I could rent this place to a family or something. But I mean, it's a great location. There's a school down the street too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it, even just to have it as a long-term, house, which, I didn't mention, but with the seller financing, I did have a 10-year balloon.
Yeah, I guess, can you explain to people, for anyone who doesn't know what seller financing is, can you just in basic terms, what is seller financing?
So it's basically, in the ways that I kind of explain it to my family is, so you know how you go through a bank to get a loan, you're not really doing that. You're going through the person that owns the house. And you're basically paying them each month, on top of, whatever, and then they start making money after you refinance the house.
Perfect. Yeah.
But it's the same. Everything's the same thing. Like you have escrow, lawyers. I mean, there's a little bit more tedious things. Like you got to get certain insurances for the house. But, my insurance lady is, I love her so much. But yeah, like there's a little bit more tedious things, but I mean, I haven't gone through a loan in the bank yet, but I mean, this was great. Honestly, I would do it again.
I love it. But yeah, it's like you have 10 years to refinance and like you already got the property. Did you ever get an appraisal for this or no?
I have not yet because I was supposed to do it after I updated the house. I haven't yet. I need to do that on my to-do list.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge deal. Like you can go ahead and appraise it right now, but honestly, like it's not like you plan on refinancing right now or selling right now. So it's really not gonna serve you that much. It's more just gonna give you a data point to be like, ooh, okay, this is what the house is worth now. But like in 10 years, you're in Austin, Texas, the house is gonna be worth so much more.
I hope so. And it should be paid off in 10 years. So, I mean, the balloon is,
yeah, because I guess what's your mortgage on it?
So with everything like in total, like escrow, I paid the insurance in full, but like, really just everything I pay $3,400.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got 4 bedrooms, right, that you're renting out.
Yes. And then, I mean, whenever I decide to move out of this bedroom, because I already want another house, but, whenever I move out of this house, then I'll like really start making money. So not only is it great that like I'll be paying the mortgage, but now I'll also be making, a little bit of a second income. And the room downstairs that I would be renting, because it's mine, it has its own bathroom, so I can rent it for way more.
Completely. Well, and then it's like in 10 years, you have this fully paid off property that's going to be worth at least $400,000. Like, what? That you're not having to like come out of pocket a ton of money every single month for, That
is true. And I mean, honestly, $3,400 in Austin, Texas for a 2-story house in the location that it's at. I mean, I honestly don't think that is bad. So, I mean, all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm excited. I come home every day and I'm just like, this is my home.
Oh,
I did it.
Love that. I love that. Well, and so you're doing the co-living strategy. And so for anyone who doesn't know, the co-living strategy is basically like getting roommates, but you kind of make it a little bit nicer in the sense that like, instead of getting like a bunch of people to rent the house and put it on one lease, you instead have multiple different people from different parties essentially rent out the house or rent out a room on their own separate leases. The cool thing about this is you can get a little bit more for like when you do charge per room versus if it were like a group coming to rent it out. Just kind of depends. But it's such a cool strategy, especially since the way you've structured it is like you have your whole own floor downstairs, you got your own bedroom, own bathroom, and then they kind of got their space upstairs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've already told Olivia this, but I've kind of tried to structure it to where it feels more homey upstairs. Just because one, it's closer to their bedrooms, and who doesn't want to be close to their, room. So I try to, do what I can up here. I mean, downstairs is still more homey, but the couch isn't as comfortable. But yeah, I mean, that's like my little oasis down there. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're more than welcome to go down there. Like it's an open range house, but I guess I'm just going based off of whenever I lived in a co-living situation. Like I just wanted to be in the area where it was closest to my room, just to do a fast break. But I'm also like I wouldn't say a loner, but I like my personal space. So when somebody came in, I'd be like, it's time to go.
Oh my goodness. I love it. And the cool thing too is like, it's not like you have to live there forever. You can move out. Literally, you could move out now if you really wanted to,
That is true. I mean, I could move out. But I mean, I think it would also be good for me to, open up more. Cause that's on my bucket list too for, 2025 is to be
proud of you.
So I don't know how long I'll do it, but, I am going to stay, and hopefully, when people do come out of their rooms, I don't just run into my room like a little gremlin or something.
Oh my God, this will get you out of your shell even more. So I guess throughout this entire journey, what do you feel like has been the biggest thing that you've like learned?
I think I said it in the beginning, but I think it's to, I think the biggest thing would probably be to invest in myself. I mean, that's something I never really did. Like I did always have like a dream and I was like, I'm going to make it, but I've never been told like to invest in yourself. Yeah. So like I said, that was the line. I mean, she was great in the whole like beginning, like getting to know me process. Like I thought you had a great vibe and energy, but that was really the line that where I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna join.
But the thing is too, is like you are the one that did it, right? Like you are the one that actually took the steps that made the moves. Like I can't force your hand to do anything at the end of the day. Like it is your life and your everything. I'll sure encourage you to do different things, but at the end of the day, it's your choice. And so the fact that you got here, you were the one who did all the work at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was. I even told, my significant other whenever I got off, and they were just like, "Wait, you actually joined?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "I didn't think you would. You don't like when it comes to money or something. Like you just won't do it." And I mean, they were even proud of me, for doing it. So I mean, even when that, showed, I was like, "Then this is the right choice." And I actually was like at peace with it too. Cause when you make like a purchase or you do something and you're like, oh, why did I do that? But after, joining and doing, the beginning steps, I was like, yeah, this is going to be great.
I love this so much. Well, Ariana, like, if someone was on the fence right now in terms of joining WWA or anything like that, what would you tell them?
I would tell them if you're on the fence, you need to join WWA because you're never going to get off that fence. I was there. I mean, I had the funds. I knew a lot of real estate people and I still was on the fence. And I think Olivia she's like the calm in the storm. No. She is the one that kind of relaxes you and tells you, for me, it was, I just felt all scattered brained and I didn't know where to start. And she gave me homework. If it's one thing I love, it's school. So her giving me homework every time, I was like, yeah, let's do this. So it was basically like a step by step. So it made it a lot easier than like me thinking like, okay, what's the next step? Like I need to look up, TikTok or Instagram or something. But yeah, she definitely will help you get off that fence. She'll help you build a bigger fence. So you don't jump back. But I definitely think that if you're on the fence, this is definitely the place to go because, not only, I mean, she took the time to even find me a house. And even when that happened, I was like, wow, like she really does care about, you know, everybody in WWA. And that's not something you see often. Usually when you join a group, a lot of people just kind of are there for the money. But no, she actually takes the time to like message you back or, I mean, find you a house. If she thinks it's a good fit, which you won't find just anywhere in my opinion. But, yeah, I mean, if you're on the fence, you got to get off that fence.
Oh, you're so sweet, Ariana. No, truly though, it's been like such a pleasure seeing you grow. Like I did like proud mom status on my hand because I just, you know, I've seen you grow so much and like face challenges and still get back up and stay like optimistic and positive even when you did feel frazzled, right? And I think like you should just be so proud of yourself because you don't even realize this now, but you're going to be that for someone else too, you know, 100%. And I can't wait to see how you impact the people around you.
Oh, that's great. I mean, even my sisters are like every day they're like, I'm going to buy a house just seeing you. But then they also saw, you know, the working every night to fix up this place. Wow. They kind of saw it.
There are different ways to do it. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, they like, even at the end, they even told me like my sister like sat me down and she was like, just take a moment. Like you did it. Which I mean, so, to some people, like buying a house just doesn't seem like that big of an accomplishment. But I mean, to me, this is like the next step in my future and the next step in my career and, you know, the next step in my future family's career. So, I mean, I feel like I'm moving forward and I'm not just stuck like I felt like I've always been.
I love that so much. Well, this has been such a pleasure, Ariana. Seriously, thank you. Thank you for all the work that you put in every single week. I'm so proud of you. And I just cannot wait to see you flourish. And I know I'm going to look back in 5 or 10 years or look at you in 5 or 10 years and be like, damn, that girl went for it.
I hope so. I hope I'm inviting you to my mansion.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ariana.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Wanderlust Wealth Show. Now, don't forget to follow the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love this episode, it would literally mean the world to me if you shared this with a friend or a family member or literally like anyone off of the street. Like right now, go ahead, share it so you don't forget, or post it on social media and make sure to tag me. I love seeing what you're listening in on and what you resonated with, and I'm just so freaking thankful for you. I'm so freaking excited for you. I love you, and don't forget, life really doesn't have to be hard.